Okay, yeah, I have to start off by saying when I moved to California, started AfterBuzz, wide-eyed and bushy-tailed, all ready to go. You stood out to me as, I mean, everyone was very welcoming, but you were such a kind person to me. And it made me feel welcomed in a place that I didn't know anyone. So, first of all, thank you for that. And thank you for being on my show. I know you're going to bring a lot of insight to people. But aside from hosting, and I gave a little background in your bio, tell us about yourself and what you're doing now post 2020 into beginning of 2021. What's your life look like?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on your show. Thank you for the kind words. I'm so flattered. What am I doing? I feel like the answer to what I'm doing has been the same for many years. I'm hustling, I'm pushing through, I'm doing everything I can. I'm trying to find gigs, I'm creating content, I'm working my butt off, and hoping that that turns into something where I can slow down. But that, even though we're in a new year and things are not slowing down, things didn't slow down. Even with things closing in 2020, nothing slowed down. I just
Right.
kept going.
Well, even to have that motivation to do these projects from home, it comes from your love of TV, and you describe yourself as a TV junkie. Tell me about the start of that, and what age were you, and when did you really know that this was something you maybe liked more than other people?
It's funny because I don't think I realized that until adulthood. I thought everyone was into TV the way I was. But when I was younger, I was like the TV guide in my house. So my parents would come home from work and be like, "What's on tonight?" And I could tell you what was on TV on each of the main broadcast channels from 4 p.m. until 11 when I would go to bed. So, like, I knew the schedule, and
Wow.
every night I'd be like, well, tonight you can watch this or that or this or that. And I knew it. And I didn't realize until high school that I knew crap no one cared about. And my friends started calling me IMDb when I was in college because they'd be like, who was the actor who was in this one thing? And I'd be like, oh, that's this person.
Right. So I would be great to watch a movie with you, because if I ever hear someone's voice, I'm like, who is that? I got to figure out who that voice is. Like, I cannot go to bed unless I find out who that voice is. And I love when I'm actually right about who I think the character is, like for animation or something. So you're the person that always knows who those people are, basically.
I was. Nowadays with streaming services and the amount of content out
Too
there,
much.
I'm not as great as I used to be.
I mean, it's hard to keep up. I feel like you would just do nothing but watch TV if you watched everything on TV these days.
Yeah, I'm trying to watch TV and do nothing else, but I have other things to do, like laundry and dishes.
Right. Oh, life. Tell me about the start into being so motivated to do your projects, because we didn't know what was going to happen when the pandemic first hit. We didn't know how long this would take. So when was it when you were like, oh shit, I got to do something? And how do you keep yourself motivated to keep going, keep creating new ideas?
Those are great questions. The thing that motivates me is something that's always motivated me, and it's if I don't do it, no one else will. That is the message that I remind myself. It's the thing that gets me up in the morning because if I don't do what I need to do, no one's going to do it for me. I'm not going to be discovered laying in my bed.
Right.
I'm not going to make my dreams come true unless I actively move forward and do things about it. So that's what drives me. And when the pandemic hit, and honestly, the beginning of 2020, the like first 2 months before everything closed, I was on an upward swing, and I was like, this is my year. And all of the opportunities that I had disappeared. So
2020
I,
played us all with that. We're all like, let's go, baby. Nope.
yeah, it was really obnoxious. And luckily at the time I had a part-time job that was paying me and kept me going. And like when everyone started working from home for the first time, I had been working from home for my part-time job for the last year and a half. And so I was like, nothing has changed except some of my gigs went away.
Hmm.
And then, that job went away, and all the gigs I was doing online went away. And I went, well, I have to create new gigs. I have to create new content. It was more of a necessity than like, oh, I just want to put stuff out there. But I did choose to only do things that I actually care about and want to do. So that's good.
It sounds like you really took everything with the best positive outlook. But be real, when those jobs did go away, did you have a freak out moment, or are you immediately the person that's like, okay, well, this is what we're gonna do about it? Or were you like, shit?
Um, I believe in one day of panic. So um, I like to have, because I feel my emotions. So I feel them strong. And I let myself have one day of freaking out, of crying, of screaming, of swearing, of throwing things. And the next day I wake up and go, great, if I don't do them, no, they're not going to happen. So I have to keep going. But I 100% believe you have to let yourself be upset. You can't not be upset.
I love that you said that. And sometimes we don't get those moments of clarity until we get that physical release, whatever it looks like.
Mhm.
Panic attacks. Sometimes we just need to be in our feels, literally. So I really like that you give yourself that space. And it's not at all a weakness. It's just being human. And these are things we need to express. And one thing I love so much about you too is that you are confident, you're beautiful, you're bold. You've never been one to shy away from sharing your opinion or living in the moment, and you're just really great energy to be around. But you are very open about body positivity, and you've incorporated being a plus size host even into your title. And why necessarily do you think it's important to put emphasis around being plus size in your words? Why is it something that you add to your title?
That's a really great question too. I'm in an industry that like your looks matter, which is hilarious because in high school I was the weird kid who wore costumes to school and like I hated whatever the trend was and I didn't wear makeup and I didn't wear skinny jeans and like I didn't do anything. And then I like actively chose to enter an industry that cares so much about the way you look.
Right.
So apparently I like to be tortured, but I had to put it in there. I had to explain that I am not what you're going to expect when you see an entertainment host. Up until Nina Parker, there was no one who was close to my size on E. So like there's, to see someone like that on E News is really empowering and amazing. So I put it into my title because it's important to me. It's who I am. Um, Seeing body diversity on screen is a passion of mine. It's something that I feel is very important, um, especially in America, where the average American woman is plus size. The idea that we don't see that on TV is
Mm-hmm.
just mind-boggling. Um, so I really needed to put it in there. But also, I was talking to a publicist friend of mine, and she said, "Your brand doesn't make sense. You are plus size and superheroes, and that doesn't make any sense. How can you tie those together?" And I said, "Well, I'm the big host for the big fans."
Wait, was she basically trying to say you couldn't be a superhero if you were plus size?
No, she was just saying that if I want to do like fangirly stuff and I want to do body positivity stuff, I had to find a way to tie it together.
Oh,
And
I
that's
see.
where,
Okay. Not saying you have to pick a lane, but just trying to
I
put
mean,
put it all
kind of
together.
pick a lane or figure it out. And so I put it together.
No, I love that because that's actually one of my pet peeves when people just try and put you in one category. We are multidimensional people. So
Mhm.
why not put out there in the world your love for body positivity and something that's such an important message for people to hear, and incorporate it in your love and talent and knowledge of the craft you're working in? It just makes sense. That it makes a lot of sense to me, actually. So not to disagree with your publicist, but kind of disagree. But I'm really glad that you chose to not fear from that, and instead of saying, oh, okay, I'll just do this one thing, you did make it multi-dimensional.
Yeah, I think, a lot of people in the industry want to give you their advice. And I think that a lot of their advice is helpful. Um, but you know yourself better
Yeah.
and you know who you are and what you stand for. So I took her advice and I said, I'm going to figure out how to make it work together. And that's what I did.
And being in LA in such a cutthroat industry, like you said before, what has it taught you, or maybe shocked or even disappointed you about the industry?
I think one of the things I learned, luckily through a place like AfterBuzz, is that the more you help people and support each other, the better everyone does. That like it's not, we don't have to do what the old guard said, which is, fight each other and feel like we're competition. We can collaborate and help each other and suggest each other and move us all together I don't know the saying about the ships rise, something about a
Yes.
rising
I
tide,
think
whatever.
I know what
That
you mean, though.
that one. Just, especially in an industry that likes to pit women against each other, it's
Oh, yeah.
so much more important to have women working together to help each other
Amen.
and to move up together.
I find too, just from personal experience, when I would go into an audition and have this kind of mentality of just like, I got to get the part, I got to win, I don't perform as well. And then when I go into the audition thinking, if this is meant to be mine, it will be. And just like I'd want someone to support me, I need to support my peers in whatever they accomplish. And I do better just because when you don't have this pressure to be perfect or to beat someone else out of the spot, you just are, you're authentic and you do the best you can. And I think it all comes back to, trust in your own plan and your own confidence. But I think that there is room for everyone to succeed if that's where they're meant to be. There's enough, especially now with all the streaming services and all the platforms, there can be that white space if you work hard enough and you care to put your energy into it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got to put it in there because no one else is doing it for you. And
And
the best thing is to find other people and work together.
yeah, I agree with that. Are you good at taking advice from other people or maybe suggestions? Or sometimes group projects are not the most fun, depending.
I am open to hearing them, whether I accept them or not.
Yeah.
I found that I get not defensive, I get defensive, but I get like explaining when someone's like, oh, you should do this. I feel myself go, no, let me explain why I didn't do that. Let me explain to you the choice that I made. Because it's very rare that I do something that it wasn't deliberate.
Right. And when I said before, you're a very confident person, you said in high school you were the weird kid and that you always wanted to do something that was against the grain. But to me, that still says you were confident if you wanted to stand out and you didn't care if it wasn't cool. So were you always like this? And do you think that's what made you so successful being in LA?
I think part of my weirdness and standing out was that I knew, like, I wasn't I wasn't a skinny girl. I wasn't blonde. I wasn't, I was raised by foreign parents. I felt very different. And so I guess it was kind of like a protective armor. The way that I deflected was to be loud and in your face. And through that, I grew confident, I think. So I don't think I was back then. I just liked being weird.
It's almost like you take the power back, you take those titles before anyone could use them against you, just owning it and clearly carrying it through now. I feel like that's what is so great about you and now your brand. But
Yeah.
talk about the blog that you write about body positivity.
The Fat Girl Show. Are
Yes,
you talking about the Fat Girl Show?
I am.
Yes, I have a blog called The Fat Girl Show, and mostly it's news and announcements in terms of plus size things. So anytime Melissa McCarthy gets a new role, Rebel Wilson gets a new role, Lizzo releases something or does something amazing, it's a lot of that, a lot of fashion news as well, and it's soon to be a show, which is the big exciting 2021 news.
A hot take right here on Haley J Podcast. Wait, that's so exciting. Where
Mhm.
can we see it at?
That I don't have an answer yet for, but we've started shooting the pilot, and this has been a project of mine for over 12 years, and I'm so excited to finally be doing it. And I'm working with an amazing production team, Flamingo Street Productions, and so I'm very excited about
Oh
it.
my gosh, that's so exciting. Can you tell me any stories of responses from fans or someone that you really touched their life by your expression with body positivity and how it's helped someone?
Yeah, I get a lot of young women telling me how amazing it is to see someone who looks like me, who looks like them, who is happy and doesn't hate their body. And the way that I talk about loving yourself, and the fact that we don't see enough of that on TV, that, it really does change your brain when you start seeing someone who loves themselves how they are. It helps you realize that there's nothing wrong with you. And the truth is, I am a big believer in people doing what they want with their body. So if you want to lose weight, then lose weight. If you want to stay fat, like whatever you would like. I think that's your choice, and wonderful. And I think that if I can help anyone out there who thinks they're too fat, you're not. You're not. You just aren't.
Isn't it amazing how many people have opinions about someone else's body?
Mm-hmm.
So much to say about something that they literally have no idea about that person's life. But
Yes.
I love the title even in the Fat Girl Show, because I think that, again, it's almost like taking back a title that someone could maybe use as an insult, but when you take away their power, they really can affect you. And it's kind of like a deeper question, but was there ever a point where you felt like you were forcing yourself to feel confident when you have people in the industry telling you you're supposed to look this way, you're supposed to be that way? Did you ever have any self-doubt along the way, thinking that, what if this doesn't work type thing?
Oh, absolutely. I growing up, I wanted to be an actress. I thought I was going to be an actress, and turns out I'm a terrible actor. But I
That's
was like,
surprising.
turns out. But I really thought that I could do it, and I was told that I would never be able to be an actress if I was fat. And I was told in my early 20s that if I wanted to be an actress, I needed to learn to be funny, because that was all I would get, would be comedic roles. If I wanted to look this way, I had to be funny. And that was really hard. And I definitely struggled with confidence for a long time and eventually figured it out. And I think that, the day before I moved to Los Angeles, I had a major panic attack, a major panic attack. And I was like, what if I fail? What if I go and I'm told that it'll never happen, and that someone who looks like me will never be hosting, and that's, it's never going to happen. And then I realized that if I don't try, it will never happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I came to LA, and I mean, I'm still here. So
Yeah, right. It's like we forget that sometimes, or might as well take that chance, because you're going to create your fear happening if you never even take that first step.
Mhm.
And with 2020, we got to take all the first steps that come our way, baby, because you just don't know what life is going to throw you.
Absolutely.
And aside from body positivity, something that in your own words, you describe yourself as a conversational, what's the phrase that you say, your conversational style of hosting?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what I
Was
wrote.
there like a word you had though? I thought
No.
fan speak. What am I thinking of?
Oh, Fanversation.
Conversation, that's it. Okay, so talk about that, and why is that style of hosting different than what I might see on the red carpet?
So Fanversation is actually an outlet that I host for, and we cover everything from a fan perspective. So I am not the host who cares about who's married to who's dating who's pregnant. I don't care about the personal stuff. I come from a fan perspective of the content that is being made. So when I'm interviewing, an actor about their role, the conversation will be about the role. The conversation will be about the character, because that's what I think fans want to hear about. I don't care about the personal relationship drama of an actor's real life, because that's their business and not mine. So
Oh, refreshing.
yeah,
Wow.
it's all about what the fans actually want to know, which is that character still alive? Is that character going to be the bad guy? What's happening in this season? I come at it from a fan perspective. This is what matters. And whatever the talent does in their private life is just that. It is private.
Now, the talent that comes on your show, do they know ahead of time that the interview will pleasantly only be focused on their job as an actor? Or are they ever like, wow, thank you, you're like the one person that didn't ask this specific question?
Sometimes, back in the AfterBuzz days, I would get a lot of talent who really appreciated that we talked about the show in depth in a way that, like, it was clear we knew the show. Because I feel like a lot of talent does interviews with big outlets that don't necessarily watch their show. So I tend to cover superhero sci-fi stuff, and an outlet like E or Access or, Extra, they don't necessarily watch all the superhero shows. They just know this person has a lot of followers. So they really do appreciate when you talk to them about what they want to talk about, which is their craft and their characters and what they're doing.
And what they put in so much work to be interviewed in the first place for.
Exactly.
I really, really like that. It wouldn't be Are You Okay with Haley J if I didn't talk to you about the heavy mental health stuff. So I'm just gonna dive into the fact that we're obviously talking about the fun side of hosting, the conventions and Comic-Con and all these things that you really especially strive in areas like that. So when this year hit and all that was stripped from us, I know you have your independent projects at home, but how do you, aside from really staying busy with those things, how do you just keep yourself sane and happy if we are happy these days?
Yeah, I believe in taking a day off. So I at least one day a week take the entire day off. I will not do even social things. I will not read emails. I will not hang out with friends. I will not go out to dinner. I will almost always stay in bed or on the couch. And I spend the whole day just doing nothing. I watch TV. I scroll on my phone. I just do nothing. And it lets me recharge so that the next 6 days I can go nonstop and put all that pressure in. And the hardest thing is on that, the like beginning of the day off is always my brain being like, ooh, we have time today. You could probably write this thing, or you could shoot this, or you could edit this.
Mm-hmm.
And so having to remind myself, like, nope, I can do that tomorrow. Today I do nothing.
Oh, that's really important. And it's just like scheduling in time. I think a lot of us, especially now with social media, keeping us so, my roommates and I talk about this a lot, how we feel like we're more ADD these days. And it's, I think it is a lot to do with the fact that we're constantly being pulled in multiple directions on our phones, our videos, that we're bored after 20 seconds. Sometimes I'm watching a video and I check to see how long, feel like I've been watching it for 5 minutes and it's been like 45 seconds. And it's just, you catch yourself in this habit of now wanting everything to go, go, go. And it is hard to slow down in other areas of your life as well. So how did you know that this was the type of schedule you needed? How did you know that it's okay to take this time off, even if your brain is a little devil on your shoulder saying, we have time, do more?
It happened after I had like 3 back-to-back days of just nonstop. So Sundays are like my hardest days. I wake up, I teach Sunday school on Sundays. Now it's Zoom, and it's exhausting. And right after that, I do an after show. And after that, I do another YouTube show. And in between those shows, I have to find time to eat. So like Sundays are killer. And then I used to have work on Mondays, and then I hosted trivia Monday night. So I was up early and up till late Sundays and Mondays. And then Tuesdays I had stuff to do. And I was like, I can't keep going like this. And so I have to force at least one day a week. It's not always the same day, but like there has to be one day in a week where I do absolutely nothing. And yesterday was that day for me.
Do you really, like, you wake up and you feel refreshed?
Oh yeah. Today I felt like I could do a million things.
I love it. Do you have a routine, or is it kind of just like you go with how you're feeling in the moment? Like, is there a wake up, eat breakfast, go on a walk, or anything like that?
Every day is different, but I am very organized. So I have like schedules on, I have calendars, I have meals scheduled in if I can. Sometimes I have to put in when to shower because I know that I'm going to have to redo my hair the next day. So like my calendar will have when to eat, when to shower, when to do my nails. Like all of that needs to be scheduled so that I can make sure that I make everything work and I have the one day off.
See, I never have to remind myself to eat, but I've written a few like, you need to wash your hair tonight type notes, and I haven't done what. But what are you most looking forward to? And now that this vaccine is out, we're feeling a little bit more optimistic about getting a healthier world. So what's your go-to move, aside from now you just shared your exciting news of your show, which again, congratulations, but what has this year really taught you and given you time to reflect on that you want to take into your life once that schedule does get really jam-packed in person again?
Wow, that's such a tough question. I think I'm not going to take social events for granted. I feel like in LA, we get invited to social events all the time and we're like, man, maybe. And then night of will flake. And I think that's such a terrible way that this city has made everybody, because I was not a flake when I moved here. So
I just say no straight up. I'm like, I don't see myself doing that. Monday through Thursday, I really don't do anything social.
well, I think I'm gonna do more social things because I didn't before. And Zoom parties suck. So I'm gonna go see people in person more and be present. I think and see family and travel.
Yeah.
Just travel.
Yeah, I just want to take more risks. And I even like with clothes and fashion, I never thought I would miss lipstick so much and just showing expression through style. And it's just not the same to dress up for Whole Foods. It's just not like you do feel more yourself when you have a cool look. And I know you're really big on sharing your outfits and your moods. So all of those things, they do affect our overall happiness and frivolous to other people, but really important to others. And I think it's good to honor that for however you feel for you. And just my last question for you, what are some of your resources? What do you listen to any specific podcasts or even people in the industry or not that you look up to that have really shaped your values and just the way you think today?
Wow. I think my resources are my friends who are doing incredible things, right? I have you who has this podcast. I have my friend Mary Lou who makes content about making content, which is
Cool,
so
like the behind
helpful.
the scenes. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm old and like TikTok, I'm too old for
I don't do
TikTok.
the TikTok.
But Mary Lou, who is also old, was like, here's how you TikTok. So I appreciate that. Yeah, I think meeting people and getting to see what they're good at and what they're passionate about, what they love to do, and then checking out their stuff is the best resource. The people you know are doing amazing things, and you just got to give them the attention that they deserve. Check out their newsletter. If your friend sends out a newsletter, do not unsubscribe. Even if it's not your cup of tea, one day you're going to be like, oh, wait a second, they know about this thing.
Mhm.
Keep the newsletter, support your friends.
That's really good advice, actually. Even if your friend wants you to follow their Instagram page or something, you're like, oh, do I really care? I think sometimes it's like, yeah, maybe you will learn something you didn't expect, and it's always good to support your friends because how can you sit there and want their support if you can't give it to them? And just surrounding yourself by, I think, creative people really does inspire you to push yourself too and be more creative and find all these things to keep yourself busy with in the middle of a pandemic, which you did.
Yeah.
Well, Yael, thank you so much. I'm going to plug all your socials so everyone can check out your show. Congratulations again. I'm so excited for you on getting this TV show deal or wherever we can find it. It's going to be amazing. And I know a lot of people look up to you, and I'm sure they will be very happy and encouraged to hear what you have to say.
Thanks. Thank you so much.
I love you. I'll talk to you soon, and we'll see each other after this mess is over, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Hope
Thanks.
you have a great night, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
I leave now?
I know, right? Mine's
What do I do?
what's happening. It won't let me exit. Go, leave.
All right.
Okay, I got it. Bye.
Bye.